Man, when I always say, look around the room, make sure you're not the smartest guy in the room all the time, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, clutch, man. If Rich is in the room and all these other guys, man, Farrah and all these people, man, you look around that room and that's the right room. Zeke Sandu, Bilbo, Coy, all these dudes, man, like this is the right room. Like this, guys, you can learn. I'm 25 years in the business and can learn something from junior agents at Clutch because they're the best of the best, like truly the best of the best. And I love that part of it. I love how they work together and we push and motivate each other and help each other on signing guys and having those relationships. If a guy's in Arizona, if my player's in Arizona, he's gonna know who Zeke Sandu. If my player's in LA, they're gonna know who Nicole and Aaron Henderson and all these guys, Saint and all these people, they're gonna know who they are. Okay. And that's gonna be who people who are gonna be around them even more than I am. There's so much, man, from Rich listening to Rich and the way Rich Paul does things. It's more about for NFL players and athletes in general. It's not about just marketing yourself. It's about becoming a brand, right?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to D.R.E.A.M.S Podcast, Locker Room to Reality. I'm Scott Coleman. I got my wonderful co-host, Mr. Jackie Mitchell. How you doing, sir?
Doing great, my man. How's everything?
Man, I'm blessed. The gentleman we're bringing on today, this is kind of like a family reunion, man. We were talking about this the other day, and we got it out the mud together. But we've all moved on to greener pastures, and he guided us, through our professional football careers when he was starting out. And now, this gentleman has represented many first round picks. Most notable, I guess, as of lately, Evan Neal, the New York Giants, came out of the University of Alabama. Malik Neighbors from LSU, right, who's with the New York Giants now, one of the premier receivers in the NFL. Marvin Mims with the Denver Broncos. I love that gentleman there, man. He's just a grinder. And many, many more. That's just to name a few. Him and some partners built a huge sports agency, and now they're a part of the biggest sports agency in the world, Clutch Sports, who's ran by Mr. Rich Paul, who everyone knows represents, started out with LeBron James. And I mean, this guy's just doing some big things, man. And it's a guy who's near and dear to Jackie and I hearts. Welcome to the show, Mr. Rick Roberts.
Hey, thank you, Scott. Thank you, Scott. On that first, it was Tyler Booker this year out of Alabama.
Oh,
That
you
was
got
the
it?
one. It was T Book this year out of Alabama. Evans was somebody else, but it was T Book out of Alabama.
Okay,
This
okay,
year, the 12th pick in the first round. We had,
okay.
and over the last years, man, a lot of them's been Louisiana guys. When I
Mm-hmm.
got into the agency business, y'all know, man, that's where y'all started off, bro. Like it
Mm-hmm.
was straight out the boot. Like it came
Yep.
and got those guys and a lot of the guys that I work with on the personalities and stuff I've seen over the years, a lot of the same type athletes, man. It's just those guys that had those dogs in them,
Mm-hmm.
just really good players and really good people, man. Is what what I've tried to do and build my career around, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, man, I was searching my phone the other day, and I was trying to pull up Rick's phone number, Jackie, and I was like, and it wouldn't come up. And now, it automatically refreshes. So now, hey, now it's Richard Roberts. So that's what it is now. Hey,
Bro,
hey, Jack. Hey,
baby.
hey,
It's
Jack.
official,
Hey,
baby.
you know what?
come on, man. Don't
You
do
know,
that.
hey, you know what?
Don't
Hey,
do that, Scott.
hey, you know,
Hey,
He's gonna get you, Rick. He's gonna get you.
he went straight in, Jackie.
I know.
He went straight
hey,
in.
hey, Jack. Hey,
Hey,
what the name used to be? Leroy. Now it's Leroy. You know what
Leroy.
I'm saying? Hey, Richard.
I
Hey,
done went to
since,
Richard.
hey, now, hey, since
Uh,
I was like, dang, okay, oh, but since, hey, we family, so we gonna call him Rick now. We gonna keep calling him Rick on the show.
I love it, bro. That is so funny, man.
Yeah, man.
That was classic. That was classic.
Yeah,
Bro,
yeah, man. But yeah, no, we'll fire off some questions, man. Go back and forth, and then, man, and then here again. I know you got a super busy day, and we appreciate your time, man. Like I always say, that's the most valuable commodity. You can't get it back. So for you to spend this, these few minutes with us. We greatly appreciate it, man. So we'll let Jackie run off with this thing.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, man. Like Scott, like we said off camera, man. Great to see you. Great memories, man. Great history. And man, it's just as Scott says, truly an honor, Rick. Congratulations on the
Man,
journey. Congratulations where you are right now, man. And like you said, you did it a particular way, and that's why you're there, man. So my hat's off to you.
appreciate it, bro.
Absolutely, man. So jumping in, man, we want to talk about your experience when you're in the Navy. You're a submariner. Um, where were you stationed, and in what ways did the military experience assist you in you becoming a sports agent?
Jackie, man, I think the biggest thing, and with guys like y'all, if it's one thing I remember, it's the relationships. Like it's the relationships over everything, man. You always like it's relationships, it's people, bro. It's not, it's not the business, it's the relationships. And when I left Mississippi, I go to boot camp and I'd never been out of the South before. And I go to boot camp in Chicago and I'm at Great Lakes and just developing relationships during boot camp with guys who are in the same experience as you are. They're going through the same thing. Man, those guys are scared. Most of them hadn't been anywhere just like me. So we developed relationships there. And then from there to Groton, Connecticut, I joined the Navy because I'd watched Top Gun and thought I was going to be flying planes. And I ended up as far away from that as possible. I ended up on submarines for 10 years in Groton, Connecticut. All right. So I didn't do the Tom Cruise thing. So they told me I'd see the world, and I saw nothing for 10 years, man. I saw Groton, Connecticut, which was great because I developed some of the best relationships to this day. Guys that were my guys in the Navy, man. Guys like Ron Martin, who was a chief in the Navy when I came in, was a really good brother that I wouldn't have made it through the first year in the Navy if it wasn't for Ron checking me and telling me, no, bro, that ain't how the Navy works. Like this ain't like the civilian world. You can't get away with that. You got to be this way. And it was all about structure. It was all about doing the right thing. It was about all of us being in it together. So the first time that submarine ever went underwater, and they said dive, dive, and it took a down angle. And I realized, man, you really going up under the ocean, Rick. Like this is for real. Everybody on that submarine had each other's back, had each other's lives in their hands. So you had to trust everybody on that submarine to a point and knowing that they knew what to do. So if something happened, we're able to get back to the surface. And you develop real relationships with people. You learn trust in people, no matter where they were from, no matter what their nationality, race, everything. You learn to trust people who were nothing like you. I mean, nothing. And you learn to love them and find out and who they were as people, and not just a name, but actually that person. So, some of those guys, man, it's crazy. That was 19. Oh, my age myself, bro. That was 1987. And there's guys on that summer that are still my guy to this day. We talk once or twice a week. And it's just totally about building relationships, bro.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's what it's all about, man.
It
Relationships.
is.
Like they say, your network is your net worth. And relationships are extremely important. I mean, you look at us on this, doing this episode today. We go back over 20 years. Relationships.
Way back.
Like if both you guys know, if you need anything, like there's been times, obviously, Rick, have had clients and coming to Edmonton, he can call me and say, hey man, can you help this guy out, or vice versa, right? No matter what the case may be, that's what it's about.
For sure.
Relationships. Where obviously growing up in the South in Mississippi is very known to be very segregated or whatnot. Ever since I've known you, you've always been like a very diverse individual. Where does that come from?
It comes from there. It comes from Suzanne Circle in Crystal Springs, Mississippi, bro. That every day at 3 o'clock, my dad passed when I was 5, and my mom passed when I was 15. But at the time, I was, mom worked at the Job Corps Center every evening, and I lived at a little area right across the street from the Job Corps. So every day I would get off the bus at 3 o'clock in the evening. This is like 9-year-old Rick would get off the bus in the evening, and I go home to myself. Like I'm at the house. Like I go home to myself and put my bags down and get something to eat. And then I would head across the street to the Job Corps Center. And there was a gym in there. And I never forget, there was a coach there, Bill McGuire. He's passed recently. I go in that gym every day with guys who didn't look like me.
Mm-hmm.
And I played basketball and I boxed. I did all this stuff in the gym every day with a lot of guys who were older than me. They had my back. Like they truly, that was Miss Roberts' son. Like you didn't play with him. And
Mm-hmm.
they had my back, but I played sports every day like that. Or I was over at Suzanne Circle playing with the guys from the private school, the guys who
Mm-hmm.
went to the academy and stuff. I was there playing with them. So it was very diverse coming up. And I really realized at a real young age, man, that people are it wasn't the color of their skin. I think I was
Mm-hmm.
blessed to find that out early, that it was truly that person that I learned to care about. I learned to be my friend. And
Mm-hmm.
nobody was going to change that. Like the guys who came over in my neighborhood that played basketball with me or shot outside, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times those were the only brothers in our neighborhood. And they came
Mm-hmm.
over and played at Rick's house and shot basketball at Rick's house, hung out with Rick. That was just kind of what we did. It's kind of the way I grew up. And since my mom worked in that atmosphere, I think she really taught me early on to really just care about people, treat them the way they treated you,
Yeah.
and care about people just in general for being good people.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can relate to that, man. That's where I think, well, it's a fact. It starts at home.
Man, bro.
Me, yeah, me, myself growing up in a predominantly black area in Compton, California. And I just remember my mother constantly preaching that to me, to treat everyone as, the same and show everyone love. And those things stick with you. I think Jackie and I were talking about this actually yesterday. Just those life lessons that our parents are talking about, are teaching us, and we're not listening when we're a kid. We're just like, oh, go,
All right.
but we were saying, like, but it comes into play, when you get into it seems like, I know for me it was, probably like my early 20s. You start Now you start beginning to understand, and then you start to appreciate,
Right.
those life lessons, man. So yeah, that's awesome.
You
Yeah.
really do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. All right, Jackie.
Yeah. I be listening, man. So I just be, on cue with it. But no, man. Rick, thank you for sharing that, man. And that does. And um, to add to that, me and Scott speak about relationships literally every time we speak, because that's how we're building our show on
Right.
relationship. The people we've
Right.
had here, it's been personal relationships. People Scott or myself can call on, man, and we're grateful for all of you. So the relationships is so prevalent, man.
Right.
Um, Moving forward, now life as a sports agent can be just time consuming and demanding, man. So we know the roads, we know the calendar time, you're traveling, you calling this person on the phone with this person. How have you been able to balance the family life, marriage? I know with your son now, he's, really involved in the sports world. And what advice would you give to an up and coming sports agent who has a family?
Man, when you come into it, you better marry the right woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that, bro. Like you better marry
Mm-hmm.
the right woman because you're gonna be gone a lot. You're gonna be in situations that trust has to be there. Like trust
Mm-hmm.
has to be on another level. You're taking players out. You're doing things. You're at dinner at 1 o'clock in the morning. You're doing these things, and man, having structure at home. That's the same structure when you're gone as when you're there. My son gets up at the same time every day, whether I'm there or not. His first workout is the same time, no matter if I'm there or not. He knows that he's going to do this. He's going to eat at this time. There's a lot of structure in what we do at my house as far as the way they function, whether I'm there or not. And that also, my wife's a realtor, so she's busy too. But a lot of her life just is around making sure that I'm able to do what I can do, but at the same time, she takes care of our son on another level because he is like super involved in sports and things. So it takes a lot of time. But just knowing that when I'm gone, I laugh sometimes because I'm like, I don't know if they know I'm gone right now. Like it's because everything still functions the same way. It really does, and that's been one of the things for me success wise that I know that Autumn's holding it down whether I'm here or not. And that's just the way it has to be.
Absolutely, man. And it's crazy because as we started, that's that military mindset structure.
Bruh. Man, dude. And you think about it in the Navy, because when you're on a submarine and you leave and go to sea for 3 months, and there's no communication with you. So they've got to be able to function a certain way, whether you're there or not, because they can't call you. They can't call you or talk to you. It's just reality. So when I see people who having to run home or having to do this, or man, I've seen a lot of guys that I thought could be really, really good agents in this business, and I can't blame them for it because it's their choice. But being home was more important than being successful.
Mm-hmm.
And if they were wanting to be home and be with the family every day, Coach Pete Jenkins would tell me all the time, man, make the most of it when you have family time, because in the business that you do the same way in coaching, you're not going to get as much quality family time as you want, but you can provide a really good life for your family if that's what you're wanting to do and your family's there. It's different, different strokes for different folks, but man, if you're going to be gone and do the things that we do, it's going to take a lot, man, a lot. And I know that the agents who are around me, the guys who are clutch that I see, and even the ladies, Nicole Lynn, I have no idea how Nicole and Gabe Lynn do what they do. Gabe's a college football coach, and Nicole is a sports agent who's one of the most successful sports agents, men or women, in the world. And she probably works on a whole nother level than what most people. Gabe's doing the same thing coaching college football. To be successful, both of them are Zeke Sandu or Damaris Bilbo and Chris Coy and Chris Doyle that works with me. Man, everybody, you can tell everybody's wives and families supports them on a whole nother level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, man, that's awesome, man. Like you said, relationships are Zach or something that Jackie and I speak about on a consistent basis, because they are so very, very important. And the trust, and it was for the first letter in our acronym dreams is discipline. And I just remember you know being in certain cities or different cities, and with Rick's like, hey man, what you want to do? I was young, you know, and I was I want to get off in these streets, and that was just you know I've always, as you both know, I was very disciplined in terms of my regiments, but we all like to party, and Rick could take me, but he would
Don't
always
put me
sit
out
back.
there, Scott.
But
Don't
no,
put
but
me
he
out there,
he
bro.
would drop
All
me
right.
off. I know, you were funny. Rick would just drop
We
me
were
off
partying in Monroe, bro.
in
In
Monroe.
Monroe.
Yeah,
I'm just glad we made it out.
it's
All
just
right. I'm glad we made it out. We was in some places, Scott. I
I
was like,
know,
whoa.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
Jackie, the funniest thing ever, man. I got to tell this real quick. I sent Scott to Atlanta to train with probably the best athlete that I ever
oh,
represented. I ain't gonna put my boy out there. That's still my dog to this day.
oh
All
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
was the most gifted person I ever met in my life, talent wise. And I sent Scott goes there to train, and I never forget Scott called and said, "Man, I can't do this." And they're like, "What you mean?" He said, "Man, this guy stays up all night. He's partying. He's doing all this. He'll get up the next day and function like we ain't done nothing. Like he's just athletically that."
Yeah,
Scott was like, "Bro, I gotta have discipline. Like I gotta
yeah,
eat right, do right, sleep." He's like,
yeah.
"I can't train with this dude like this, Rick."
Oh man, that was boy. Hey,
Hey,
that was something else there, man.
man, hey, that dude wake up in the morning and run
Oh,
a 4.3.
yeah,
He'd
I
wake up in
know.
the morning
Yeah.
and just hang out all night. And I'm
Oh, I
like, I don't
know.
know how he did it, bro.
Yeah, I
I don't know.
know.
I remember the first time I ever went out with him, he told me to stop so we could get some money. And I pulled into an ATM machine. That dude said, man, we can't get the money I need out that ATM
Yeah,
machine, bro. I got to go inside.
he gonna get some one. Hey, he gonna get about 10 grand worth of ones. Hey,
Bro, I said,
yeah,
oh, man.
Good
yeah,
life. Good life,
Hey,
man. Good
still
life.
my dude to this day, bro. I
yep.
text with him yesterday. That's my dog.
Yeah, no, man. It's no, we had some good times, man. Had some good times, that's for sure. No, but man, yeah, man, Rick could drop me off. He'll go chill. Then let me call me when you ready.
Hey, bro.
I
Like, whoa.
hey, that's why I was single my whole career.
Yes, you were.
Yeah,
Yes, you
yeah,
were. I told
yeah.
hey, he actually should have had a modeling career at the same time, Jackie. You know that. Like,
I know.
man,
I know.
like
I know.
like Scott was
You
that
told me.
dude, bro. There wasn't no doubt. Scott was that guy. All right.
Oh man, I appreciate that, man. But something, man. You know, you and some partners. obviously you guys were able to build was the Ballinger Group
Hmm.
to a powerhouse sports agency. Um, but then tell me what was going through your head when you found out you guys were going to have the opportunity to work with Rich Paul and be a part of Clutch Sports. What was that about?
Man, the whole idea of Rich, like I really looked at Rich and looked at what he had done and how he had built Clutch.
Hmm.
And when that opportunity popped available, and he said he was going to purchase Clutch, and he met with James, talked to James Ballinger, who James Ballinger, man, he's a Shreveport, Louisiana,
Hmm.
self-made, multi millionaire who's just a grinder, a worker, man, a solid dude. So James, we together, me and James had built it, and I brought guys on, Martin Fishman, Don Weatherall, Chris Doyle, a bunch of guys on that had come in, and we just built it from the ground. And over
Hmm.
those 6 years, like I had 5 first-round draft picks, should have had 6. One of them ended up getting injured, not going to first. But every year, the first player I ever signed to the Balance Group was Patrick Queen, middle linebacker out
Hmm.
of LSU. It was a Pro Bowler every year. That's so the next, and then they just rolled after that. Travis Etienne, Derek Stingley, all these guys that we signed back after back after back. A lot of them from the boot, but it was, man, we built it at Ballinger off of. I'll never forget when James told me, how do we do this? How do we build it the right way? And I said, man, first thing is good people. We need to
Hmm.
represent great people who are great athletes, and we're gonna have to be choosy. You can't sign like, man, you can't go sign everybody. There's times I sit down in meetings with people, I'm
Hmm.
like, man, this isn't a fit. And I'll never forget, man. When I was at a seminar. I was at a Rich Paul was giving a speech this year when I was there, and I heard Rich. He was critiquing 2 guys on doing recruiting stuff. And the first thing Rich said afterward, and we're talking about like a super high first round pick, and they're doing this skit thing on how to recruit him. And they were showing that the guy was a bad guy, that he just, didn't want to listen, was doing all this. So after getting done recruiting him, they asked and said, how did they do? And Rich said, well, it was failure from the start because that's not a clutch guy.
Hmm.
And man, I knew exactly what he meant, bro,
Hmm.
because man, everybody ain't meant for you, man. And there's guys out there who like, man, we try to save them all, bro. And when I came in this business, man, I really thought like I could take anybody and save them all, man. Sometimes people can't save themselves. And
Yeah.
and I listened to Rich and those that things of wanting to recruit a certain type family, not just a player, but a certain type family. So
Hmm.
this year, man, when I saw Tyler Booker and Travis Etienne Jr. and all the guys that we signed this year, Ariante Ursary from Kansas City is one of the best people, man. His mom is just salt of the earth type people. When you sign families like that, you're going to be successful. You're
Hmm.
going to be successful, man. And
Hmm.
just the other day, I talked to a basketball agent at Clutch, and he talked to a kid that I knew, a basketball kid in the family, and the first thing he said is, "Rich is gonna like that family." And I was like, "Wow, man, that's solid. Like that's
Hmm.
solid that he said that because that's how Clutch is built." And we built Ballinger the same way. When I brought all the players over and the employees came over, I remember Rich and Nicole and all of them saying, "Man, y'all got good people. Y'all got
Hmm.
good players, but y'all got good people. Same way with the employees, they're good people." Zeke Sandu, Demaris Bilbo, those guys talked to me about coming over to Clutch, and they explained the culture and the way things that Rich was doing. And man, that's exactly what I've seen. I mean,
Hmm.
that's the way Clutch is built. Everybody ain't built for the brand,
Hmm.
and it's a brand. Like Clutch is a
Yeah.
brand. So when I had that opportunity, I knew there's not a bigger brand in the world in sports agency business than Clutch Sports, because people don't realize it now. We represent soccer, we have baseball, we have football, we have basketball, we have now they have Formula One. They have all this. So between Rich and Farah and what they built at Clutch, man, it's
Hmm.
special.
That's awesome. Man, that's awesome, man. Like they say, all money ain't good money.
Man, bro, it ain't, man. Hey, me and bro. Back in the day, some of the best athletes I ever signed never
Hmm.
played in the NFL, bro. Never
Yeah.
played in the league, man. I had guys. I tell my son all the time, and that's a blessing for him that he's seen some of the great ones. Man, your talent can carry you so far, right? But man, if you have bad character, your talent ain't carrying you even that. Like you're
Hmm.
not getting out the box nowadays with bad character, bro.
Yeah. No, that's man, that's so true, man. I tell people all the time, the most talented guys don't play professional sports in a lot of cases,
Right.
just because of this.
Right.
You know,
Yep.
either bad, it could be bad character, it could be bad decision making
Man.
around the wrong people, or just if when they get there, they can't, from the football standpoint, can't learn the playbook. They don't
Right.
understand how intelligent these athletes have to be,
Man.
right, to function.
Oh,
So
it's
yeah.
like that's just another level. That playbook they hand you and the things you go to. I tell every one of my guys, man, I never forget, we represented Dak Prescott when he came out of college.
Mm,
And I saw Dak go to the Cowboys. And the biggest thing that Dak did was when he showed up in camp, he studied that playbook harder than I'd ever seen anybody in my life study. Because
mm,
he knew he had to be prepared if the opportunity arose, and it did. And by
mm-hmm,
him being prepared, he was
mm-hmm,
able to run that offense and do the things he do, and now he's made hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in the NFL because
mm,
he just prepared so hard.
mm-hmm. Preparation.
And you can't deny that. That's the biggest thing. You can't deny it. And like they said, if you're always ready, you don't have to get ready, man. And
Mm,
so it's
Right,
just it's a constant reminder of the work is never done. It's never
man.
done. It's just you just wake up, be consistent, hope you achieve what you need to achieve, back at it the next day. And that's
Yep.
great because that leads us right to the next question. Rick, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm
mm.
talking about. I'm talking about, you
My
know,
God.
yeah, we speak about consistency and we speak about mindsets that it takes today to operate at a particular level, like being a part of Clutch, being a part of the Balance Group, the things that you guys built, operating at a high level on a consistent basis, right? How does that, how do you do that? What does it take? And also, usually going through the mind when you're meeting with potential clients, meeting for the first time, you kind of hit on it. You want to make sure they're good people. But what are some of the qualities that you look for when you're meeting some of these clients and families?
I think that the very first thing I do, man, when I talk to them on the phone or get that Zoom call with them or that FaceTime with them, they're interviewing me. Like they're definitely interviewing me. So I always want to make sure that I'm always who I am, Jackie. Like I really, man, I can't be who I ain't. And that's something I just try, I make sure that, sometimes, because you can only do that for so long. So,
Absolutely.
so if you sign up with Rick, you sign up with Rick, man, because of who Rick is, and it has to be the same person, that genuine person I feel I've always been. That I know that I'm literally, man, I know this from the bottom of my heart, Jackie. Like people could say it, I'm going to represent every client just like I would my own son. If it was my own son, now I have the resources, man. With you guys, back in the day, bro. We had some, but we didn't really know what the resources were because at that level, man, it's different. Like it's different. And I had a ton of resources when I got to Ballinger because of James. And I thought, man, I've got it knocked out now. Like I've got everything. Then I get over to Clutch, and you got 15 people in marketing, and you got all these people in, the different parts of Clutch. And I was like, wow, now that's resources. Now that's a different level of resource. So I have all these resources available, and it costs a lot to have those resources. So when I interview that player, it has to be the right person. I can't afford to miss. Right, I just can't afford to miss now. And with training costing $100,000 by the time you get them to the draft and everything, it's just a lot of investment there. So when I sit down with that family, man, and the player, and I always interview families, first thing I want to know is, can I trust him to do the right thing? His work ethic. Who was he in college? Talk to his college coaches, his position coaches. Find out what his work ethic was like. We always go through a background check because the NFL is going to do it. To check his medical reports, see if there's things that's there that we need to try to fix before he gets into the NFL. And then on top of that, man, is he coachable? Like, is he coachable? Is you talking to his coaches and finding out, sometimes coaches are gonna, maybe tell you a little bit of what you want to hear, but the deeper you dig, the more you can find out. It might be from a teammate of his or whatever. But you have to really, really interview and know you're signing good people nowadays who's willing to do the right thing. Because, like I said, some of the best players and best talent I signed didn't make it to the NFL back in the day, and it was because normally it's because of off the field stuff. It wasn't the man, I could put him out on the field. He's gonna run 4-3 and catch touchdowns and act a dog. But off the field, the work ethic, the willing to learn the playbook, the eating right, all the other stuff just wasn't there for some reason. So, so I think it's just that whole interview process of knowing that this family is built for Clutch and built for Rick.
That's heavy, man. And I pray that these young athletes, young sports agents, anybody even in business understands what you just stated, because we always talk about it's not just the talent. It's not just the talent, and because talent can only get you so far. The rest, depending on, like you said, your attitude, your mindset,
Exactly.
and your foundation. How you start is how you finish.
Man,
We,
so many guys will come because their whole life they've heard people tell them how great they are. And your Pee
exactly.
Wee football team might not win because you wasn't there. All right. Your
Right.
middle school team might not win because you wasn't there. And they might look like they ready to cancel the game because you ain't playing that week, right? Your
Absolutely.
high school team, you can dominate it and be the guy, and it changes things if you're not there on your high school team. When you get to college, that starts to change because there's another 4-star, 5-star behind you. A lot of times you go to a major university, that guy's getting ready to step in and play. So it starts to change then. But the really, really great ones still can have that chip on their shoulder and know they really can't do this without me. When you get to the NFL, okay, if your ass ain't out there on Sunday, somebody else is. All right,
Mm-hmm.
somebody else
Period.
is out there on Sunday, bro. And here's the crazy part that people have to understand: they didn't sell no less tickets because you ain't showing up.
Mm-hmm.
Those tickets are already sold, man. Most of these
Mm-hmm.
things are sold out way in advance. They're selling tickets online. So those people are still coming to the game, even if you show up or not. So if you
Mm-hmm.
go into the NFL and think, man, they need me more than I need them, man, you are so mistaken. You will end up in the real world faster than you've ever seen. I had so many guys in my DMs, man, that's like, hey, bro, can you get me another shot? Or hey, could you do this? That didn't sign with me to begin with, and then they go and they don't make it because of whatever reason. And normally it's self-inflicted, man. It's normally self. They didn't do what they had to do. I've never ran a 40. I've
Mm-hmm.
never ran 140 for a guy. I've never had to show up at practice for a guy. I've never had to learn the playbook for a guy. That's on them. We can get you there.
Mm-hmm.
But man, you better humble yourself and become that dude who's gonna be a team guy and an NFL guy. Because they don't need you. They don't have to have you. Like that's just the league, man. There's next year's draft picks. The next year's draft's gonna have 32 first rounders.
Yeah.
So it's not going to change. It's not going. They're not going to not draft a guy because of you. They're always looking to replace you in the NFL. So you
100%.
got to be willing to work every offseason. You got to get better than you were the year before.
Yeah.
Every year. So
Yeah.
because you've worked more money, but to the team, if another guy comes in that's even to you, man, that's a wrap for
You're a
you.
wrap.
That's
You're
a
a wrap.
wrap.
That's a wrap.
Yep.
When I was in Washington, and one of the he's an ESPN analyst now, Louis Riddick. He was on one of our scouts. I think he was a director personnel, pro personnel at the time, but he was my roommate on the road in the XFL. So he was at that time. I was a young buck coming in like 21, and he was like
Oh yeah.
35. He was mid 30s at the end of his career, and so we would talk sometime. And I remember, I seen on Tuesdays they bring in guys to work out, and he told me, he was like, yeah, if they think, if we think, one of these guys are better than one of our guys here, he's gone. And I'm like, that was just, I was like, whoa.
Right.
And so and I remember him telling me that, and I remember going out to practice, because we were off on the Wednesday,
Mhm.
and we come out there. I'll never forget. I mean, Jackie and I would joke about this. How I never forget. Fred Smoot had a sternum injury or something, and he was like,
Oh yeah.
and he was like, hey, they used to call me T.O. Junior. He's like, hey, Junior, take it easy on your boy today. I said, hey man, get out of here then, because you,
Yeah. I got to try to make this team, bro.
well, I was on the team. I was on the team, but it was
Yep.
during,
Oh
we
yeah.
was
No, no.
scout.
I got to stay on it.
I gotta stay on it, and it's a scout team. I was like, man, hey, you about to get this work today. So if you don't want to get out,
Out of line,
you
man.
gotta go,
Hey,
man. Hey,
bro.
yeah, they get you up out of there.
That's real.
Man, there are some super talented guys not in the league that are fighting to get in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't really, when you get drafted or you come in as a free agent into the NFL, and the first time you sit down in that film room or you're in the room with your players and you realize there's 20 guys at your position, but they're keeping 8.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those are grown men with families and they've been there for a while. Man, you think that guy's really trying to give you his position? Bro,
Mm-hmm.
you better, man, if you're not a top round draft pick, you got to go in and work every day, man. Like you got to work like you flat broke
Like you
every
flat broke
single
every day.
day to stay in the NFL, man. You've
Mm-hmm.
got to. And I tell everybody, it's the most rewarding job in the world
Mm-hmm.
if you're willing to put in the work and do what it takes to be there. But if you're not,
Mm-hmm.
man, it's like every day waking up and thinking this could be it. And that's a horrible feeling, man. So if you have the talent, you need to work at the level where man, if they, if something did happen, there's 31 other teams, man, I'm good. Okay.
Yep.
But you need to work hard enough that you got your own back.
100%. 100%. Yeah, we had one of our old teammates, Patrick Johnson, on here, and he said something. He said it's a high paying temp job. Remember that,
Oh, it
Jay?
is.
He
Hey,
said it's a high
bro.
paying temp job.
Hey,
You better take full advantage while you
hey,
there.
and what most people don't understand, man, is when them taxes hit,
Oof.
them checks don't look like what they say they, what you see in those numbers on Sports Center, man, that is not the real world, man. Milton Williams just signed at that, $104 million highest all-time paid player to New England Patriots. I had him this year out of Louisiana Tech, right? Third round pick out of La Tech. Signed the biggest out there, Tom Brady's numbers, and $26 million a year. Man, those checks come in with them taxes, man, and Milt Cosby, is this right, bro? Is this right? And I just started laughing. I'm like, it's right. It's right, Milt. Like, it's right,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
You can buy houses with the tax money that they hold
Oh, that's crazy.
out of checks, man. And everybody think, and then you got the cost of living, and they don't realize that you have a house back home, but you also got to live where you're at, where that team's at, because a lot of these guys don't want to live in the place they're at during the off season. So they got a place there during the season. They have to have a place back home during the off season where they train and where their family's at. You make a lot of money, but man, your taxes and then travel and all the other things that kicks in, man, at the end of it, bro, you better have a solid financial guy. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
a solid, and you better have a lot of people around you who aren't yes men. Because
Mm-hmm.
if everybody's acting like everything's okay and your ass is going broke, okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's not good for you at all, bro. Like that's not those people don't have your back. I can promise you
Mm-hmm.
that. They do not have your back if they're watching you go broke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rick,
Yeah.
I don't even know. I'll be honest. Like when I say you just had church right there, and in those last 5 minutes you just had church,
Exactly.
because they don't get it. Like, me and Scott talk about it, and I won't be long and drawn, but you said a mouthful. They do not understand when you get to any level of professional sports. Your job is on the line every day. Like you said, you got grown men in there looking in that mirror, and I'll never forget my high school coach told me this. He was like, there's no way I'm going to let somebody come in my house and take the milk out my refrigerator. I never
Right.
forget that statement.
Right.
It
Right.
sounds so simple, but
And that's exactly what they're doing.
it's exactly what's happening. So you got to be your best every day, and that pressure, man, everybody can't do it. So, man, thank you for touching on that, man. Yeah.
Nah, it's real, man. These young men need to listen. They put that team around them for a reason. And hopefully that is to hold them accountable. Because a lot of times when kids get money, the relationship between them and their family changes. They going from being the dependent to the parents become the dependents. And when that happens, the whole relationship changes now. So a lot of times I tell all my players, man, do what you can do for your family out of your heart. Don't do it when people ask, okay, or your friends ask. Do it when you want to do it out of your heart, and it's never an issue. Because if you do it when people ask, you're always going to be expected to do it when they ask. And the minute you can tell, I got a player, man, an old school player, retired from the NFL, was in the league 11 years. Tells me all the time, man, that was the best thing I could have ever told him because he made sure from the day one he did it when he could and not when it was asked or being required because he did that once. And when he did it, you could say yes 5 times, and the sixth time you say no, you're the worst person in the world because they know you got it. They know you got it. And that's the problem, man. If you don't have something, somebody asks you and you say, bro, I don't have it, they're gonna look at you and be like, man, I understand. But if somebody asks you for something, you say I don't have it, and they know your bank account, okay, that changes shit, totally changes things, bro. Oh, now you a horrible person. Well,
Yeah.
wait a minute. They don't understand. This NFL money got to last till I'm 85,
Yeah.
okay, 90. And then it's
Mm-hmm.
got to last my children. You're trying to leave something to your family, but I'm not supposed to leave something to my children because
Yeah.
you need something right now and you're a grown ass man.
Mm.
Like that doesn't make any sense to me,
No,
like
no.
none whatsoever. So when guys come in and say, man, yeah, you bringing certain along, but you can only bring them along to a certain point, man. You do what's good for them without taking something out of your own, from your family, okay? And I say it like if they give you a certain amount, you have this much string, you can only give them this much, and you okay because eventually you ain't gonna have no string left, you ain't gonna have no rope left, right? So you can't give them the whole rope, or you ain't got nothing to hold on to. And you and your family gonna fail, man. So you just have to make sure people have to do everything from their heart and not when people ask, man, because it don't work, bro. It does not work.
Yeah, that's great advice. Um, you know, I saw something yesterday, and the University of Georgia head coach Kirby Smart said, and I want to, maybe you can I guess let us know if this is true or accurate, Rick. He said that they have to pay. He said they pay their commits 20 grand a month once they take so they can stay committed.
Right,
So
right.
just speak about that and kind of the how the game has changed with the NIL and like with these how NIL works with high school kids and college kids, things of that nature.
My personal take on it, man, and I probably want some college coaches not talking to me afterwards, but I think college guys should be paid, should have been paid for a long time.
Oh,
And everything you do in life, man, the better you are at it, the more you're gonna get paid. Like that's just life, man. They can't say when I saw it come out and they say, oh well, they're paying some freshmen more than they're paying seniors. Well, in the NFL, man, there's a lot of rookies making a lot more money than veterans, and it's because their talent level, the position they play. That's sports. That's just sports, man. The more people want to show up and watch you score touchdowns or play, the more you're gonna get paid. All right, period, man. And that's just the more you do for that team. Keeping guys committed, man. Nowadays, and it's crazy. When I say the NFL, it's the NFL, but college football is free agency every single year. And players think, and college kids think, man, that's great. Every year I can get paid more. They don't think of the reverse of that. Okay. The reverse is you getting paid $350,000 a year to be the starting corner. And you go out and another guy takes your spot, or you have a bad year and there's a guy in the portal that's going to be 350,000. You're gone. Like it's a 1 year commitment. Like you're out of there. They're gonna come and tell you you're not gonna be here next year. It's not a spot on the team for you. Now you're in free agency and you're going back to a school that you probably turned down to begin with. Okay. So those relationships, those things, but man, players wanted to get paid, so now they have to live as grown men. Is the thing, and it's everybody out there, man. Uncle Joe from Jiffy Lube, just say Jiffy Lube, but Uncle Joe from Jiffy Lube wants to be your agent. All right, he ain't gonna read the contract. He's not gonna go through it. Let's say he didn't do it. He could do it, but he didn't. Man, you can't hold Uncle Joe reliable, man, because you made that decision to sign with Uncle Joe on your NIL. You probably need to go get a real agent who's done real contracts and work with real people and put that team behind you early and get ready for success. You know what? You get your financial advisor when you're a freshman in college. You get you put your team together. You get your agent, your agency, and build those things around you. But it's really going to be on that kid on what he's going to make, man. If you outplay that contract that year, you're going to get paid more the next year. When they walk into that coach's office and say, "You paid me $350 this year, now you owe me $550 the next year or whatever," because that's what you were paying the other corner who's going to the draft. Man, you can't look at him and tell him he's not worth it because you're paying somebody else that. So it's on that general manager, the college team, because the other side of that is if he underplays it, you're not keeping him and paying him that anyway. So when people act like, oh, these guys are spoiled because they're going in to ask for more money. Nah, bro. What about the guy who's getting cut because he didn't play up to that level? Okay, that's the other side of that. So, and it's the same way in the NFL when they say that guys aren't staying on teams or guys aren't what. And that money is so short lived. You got to do what's best for you and your family, yourself. At that time is what you have to do. That's sports now, man. And paying guys to stay committed. I don't even know how it could work because you're paying me 20 to stay committed and somebody pays me 50 to stay uncommitted. Okay. Then I'm not signing that paper if my heart is on the money and not on the team. Okay. as for me and representing my own son, and like I said, man, God has blessed us and put me in a little different situation, but it can't be about the money when my son goes to college. It can't, man. That relationship with that position coach is going to be his number one priority for that first year, checking and seeing is he leaving or the coach is getting fired or what that situation is. Because going into a situation, whoever that position coach is, and that head coach, that DC or whatever position he plays, man, your relationship with those people need to be on another level, dude. They need to be other than your relationship with your dad. It better be you better have trust for that guy and understand him and get to know him. And he needs to love you as a person and a player and be willing to work with you, because if not, and you just go in there as a name because you wanted to sign with the number 3 team in the country who says they need a DB, or a running back, quarterback, or whatever, and you go in there and you're just and you weren't recruited as that guy. Now, in a year from now, you're in the portal, and your value went down. Is what happened. So because you hadn't played. So man, like if guys like y'all, the guys that's going to coach my son later in life are going to be guys like Jackie Mitchell and Scott Cloman are the type guys that'll coach my son later in life. And I can get to when he gets to the NFL, you don't have a choice. But as far as high school and college, we have a choice, and it's going to be good guys who are good coaches, man.
Thank you.
Uh,
Tug
yeah.
that part right there, Rick. You got
My bad, bro. My bad.
So
But
you, Scott.
oh no, I was about to ask him, man. I know, now, Rick, you've been with Clutch Sports for shoots, man, probably about a year now, if I'm not mistaken. And talk about a couple of the just nuggets you've picked up along the way that's going to help you in the future. Obviously, they talk about who you're around, or it's very, very important who you're around. So
Right,
now you've
right.
been around some of these people. Yeah, speak about some of those things you've learned, picked up so far.
Man, when I always say, look around the room, make sure you're not the smartest guy in the room all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, clutch, man. If Rich is in the room and all these other guys, man, Farrah and all these people, man, you look around that room and that's the right room. Zeke Sandu, Bilbo, Coy, all these dudes, man, like this is the right room. Like this, guys, you can learn. I'm 25 years in the business and can learn something from junior agents at Clutch, because they're the best of the best, like truly the best of the best. And I love that part of it. I love how they work together and we push and motivate each other and help each other on signing guys and having those relationships. If a guy's in Arizona, if my player's in Arizona, he's gonna know who Zeke Sandu. If my player's in LA, they're gonna know who Nicole and Aaron Henderson and all these guys, Saint and all these people, they're gonna know who they are. Okay. And that's gonna be people who are gonna be around them even more than I am. So there's so much, man, from Rich. Listening to Rich and the way Rich Paul does things, it's more about for NFL players and athletes in general. It's not about just marketing yourself. It's about becoming a brand, right? And I didn't know what that truly meant until I sat down with Farrah one night at dinner, and she's one of the head people there with Rich. They started the company together, and I listened to her talking about how they started and the things they did. They go 2 years without a paycheck, but now they have guys like LeBron James and Anthony Davis and all these people, right? And LeBron James he is exactly what you would say as far as a brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that is a brand. That's not just an athlete, man. That's a brand. And he's done things the right way for all these years. And the way they branded him is the way even players, Tyler Booker's here in Dallas, man. Tyler Booker's gonna be branded, not just a athlete and go out and market stuff and put his picture on everything. He's going to be involved in stuff that means stuff to him, and he's able to help those companies grow and be a part of those companies, and not just a picture taking a pic, not just a face taking a picture and saying I'm Tyler Booker, first round draft pick of the Cowboys, and smiling, taking a picture, whatever. He's going to be a part of those companies, and becoming a part of something that you'll own for life is so much more important than just taking a picture and collecting $5,000 and saying I love to eat here, and then you never come back. Like those things mean something, man. So really being able to develop brands of your athletes that carry on after football, because
Mm-hmm.
football money is only for so long and then it stops. But if you're in that community and you're on that team and you're branded the right way throughout sports, you can make money in that city forever. Like
Mm-hmm.
forever, you can make money there. and just off of who you are. JT Barrett still makes money in Ohio State, man, because
Mm,
JT Barrett did things the right way. You know, he did things. The quarterback coach now, the Chicago Bears, and I had JT live with me, man. When he tore his Achilles tendon and lived at my house, man, for like 6 months. He lived with me and my family, and I used to laugh because as he had healed and gotten better, I saw my son come into the room, and Money was young then, and Money be like, "Dad, you want to go out and throw the football?" And I was like, "Son, JT Barrett is in the room right across from you, and you asked your dad to throw the football to you." Like, come on,
man,
man. Like, don't do that, bro. Like, do
man.
not do that. All right.
Go over
And hey, go right over there. All right. And they developed a relationship that was just whole. They would watch film together and all this stuff put together, like all this stuff. And I realized JT Barrett was a brand. If you say JT Barrett at Ohio State, you know who JT Barrett was. He's a leader. He's our first, only three-time captain in Ohio State history. Like
Mm,
that's the guy who was branded at Ohio State, and that's the type. You know, that's what you want to do with all your athletes.
mm,
That's powerful, man. That's powerful, and Scott, we speak about this, and Rick, thank you for touching on that. But we always speak about you're a walking entity. Yeah, it
Right.
just depends about who wants to do business with you. How are you promoting business? Are you marketable? Can you be accountable? So everything you touched on, I just hope that these young athletes, young sports aides, anybody in the sports world, anybody with an entrepreneurial mindset, this is what it takes, guys. This is
Right.
what it
Right.
takes. It's not a fly by night operation. You may get to some processes quicker, but you still got to get to the finish line and just building every day. So Rick, thank you for that.
Man, I've got Malik neighbors, and y'all know who Malik is. And Malik has learned that over time. And Malik does spend time with the fans and does the things because people are going to see that dog on Sundays is what you're going to see. He might not say exactly what what the coach, what anybody want him to say right there in that interview, but you're going to get it from the heart. You're going to get who Malik is. That's who he is, man. But as a person, as a player, a coach, a fan, family, you realize, man, that's what they used to say, all the time. Like, Coach, I go back to Pete Jenkins back in LSU, forever. But he would say there was two kinds of players that he saw. That there was the ones that you get in a foxhole with, and either both of you is coming out or neither one of you are. And then there's the other guy who would shoot you and hide under your body. Okay, you don't want to get in the hole with that dude. All right, you don't want
no,
to get in the hole with him, right?
yeah,
Malik Neighbors is that guy. You get in a foxhole with Malik, you either both coming out or ain't nobody coming out, bro. Like
mhm,
that's who Malik is, man. And
yeah,
when people see that and grow to love that, know who he is as a person, you wouldn't have a better role model for your son than who that guy is, man. Because he's gonna fight for everybody on that team every day, bro.
yeah,
Man,
yeah.
absolutely, absolutely, man. That's why I want the foxhole with me. I tell me and Scott
No,
talk about it. Hey, listen, don't piss on my back and tell Miss Raining. I
oh
just
no, not at all, bro. Not at all, man. Hey,
don't
nah,
do
yeah,
it.
we're gonna know better than that one. We're gonna know better
Exactly.
than that. Like I
I
can
need
see,
to know
bro.
who
I
the
know what time it
foxhole is.
is. All right.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And it's crazy because once again, that's that continuity, man. So you speak about money. I know that's near and dear, man. I see how your smile came up when you speak
Man,
about
bro,
that.
it's a
But
lot, man. It's a lot.
it's okay. It's okay. You're
It's
doing
a
it the right
lot,
way. You know what I'm
bro.
saying? So the community is intact. And like you said, that's what's important. But for your son, you know, um, projected, he's ascending, he is
Right,
in ascend,
right, right.
you coming out, 20, 2031, 2032, depending on whatever that comes, how you guys, come out of there. But, say project to be a top 10, project to be a top 10 pick. Now, in doing that, it's kind of a two-part. How proud will you be? you know, um, I know that's hey. Now you're representing them,
Mm.
or would you want to mix business with family?
Uh, I'll be one of the agents. I'll be one of the agents, and
Right.
and not as the agent with the say so, but dad with the say so, because I've done
Absolutely.
this my whole life, and I
Absolutely.
know what it is, and I know what he needs. There's people on the team that's better at stuff, and people don't want to admit it in life, man. But there's people on the team that's better at stuff than what you are, and that's why we hired a team at Clutch to do what they do, man. We got a salary cap guy. We got a contract guy who looks through the language and does everything. And VJ and Nicole, and she's an attorney. And then we've got all these Martin Fishman, and we got these other guys, man. The whole team at Clutch will be involved with my son if my son goes pro, man, because I know what everybody brings to the table. So they will be involved in one way or another, have relationships with him. Nicole will have a relationship, definitely be on the contract with him. And I laugh and tell her that. She laughs. Zeke Sandu, Bilbo, those guys, man, like everybody will be involved with him because, man, at an early age, bro, and I didn't know, because, I got two older sons and they liked the game, but they didn't love the game. And money, as he came up, everybody wanted to put it on me. Everybody wanted to be like, oh, dad's doing this and dad's overboard and dad's an agent. He's putting him in all this training, doing all this. Man, you know how many discussions I had with my son where I said, son, if you don't want to do this today, man, we can chill. And I remember 8-year-old Money telling me, Dad, on the days I don't want to do it, wake me up and make me do it anyway, because I love being better. And I was like, wow, that was 8-year-old Money, bro. Like, and when he told me that, man, it hit a nerve. I was like, wow, because the days that I let him off, and I don't push him to be his best, as a father, I'm letting him down. Not as an
Mhm,
agent,
mhm,
but as a
mhm,
father, I'm letting him down, man. Because with 8-year-olds, you want to get up and go do it. Like there's gonna be days you don't. There's days as 57-year-old Rick, I don't want to do it. But
mhm,
I have to motivate myself to do it because I'm 57 and not somebody out there that's gonna push me and do it. But as a father, I know what's in him. And God gave him genetics and God blessed him in a way that me and my wife said at 4 years old, dude had abs. And we're like, all right, that's different. I never I never put my son at quarterback. I never put my son at running back or wide receiver. I played him at linebacker and defensive end all the way up from the time he played football. And guys on the team that coached him would say, why are you not letting him play receiver or doing this? If you're gonna play the game of football, you're gonna have to be physical. And you're gonna have
mhm,
to love the game of football. You can't
mhm,
love scoring touchdowns and celebrating. You can't love doing all this for the cheerleader thing. You have to love going to hit someone. If you're gonna
mhm,
truly play the game at a high level. Malik Neighbors attacks people when he catches a football, right? He ain't
mhm,
afraid of contact. He wants to. Guys who don't want to hit ain't gonna make it. And when I had
mhm,
him at 7 years old with pads on and he's wanting to go against the D tackle in Oklahoma. And I'm like, oh, he fixing to get the hell knocked out of him. But he would go and hit him and make the tackle or do whatever and get up like, yeah. And Money was 80 pounds smaller than dude. So I'm
mhm,
like, oh, he got that little something extra to him. So I put the training involved, and y'all gonna laugh about this one, man, because I put the training involved. And I was thinking about it earlier when I said, how did I want to build him coming up to know I could have the best athlete possible at whatever position he played. So I got him the best speed training, the best weightlifting, the best receiver coach, the best defensive back coach. So I put all those things in front of him because I had those resources to do that, right? So I'm able to provide that for my child. Now it's up to him to do the work to get there. All
mhm,
right. So if I was going to design the perfect athlete, I want him to have Scott Cloman's genetic. I want him to have Scott Cloman's body. I want him to be built like Scott and strong. I want him to have Fred Bailey's speed. I want him to be have that dart like that. Speed is just different. When you catch it and you're like, all right, man, like you ain't catching up, but you might well give up.
mhm,
And then Jackie Mitchell, the dude that was a leader and a hit dude that was gonna come knock your head off. Those things, I wanted to put those three players into one and
mhm,
build one athlete, man, if he's
mhm,
willing to do the work.
mhm,
Man, my son loves to hit. I'm talking about
mhm,
loves to 180 pounds, 6'3", 15-year-old freshman. But he loves to hit more than anything. And that ain't his daddy. That ain't his
mhm,
daddy out there going to hit that running back full speed. And he might take the blunt of it sometimes. That's money. That's money wanting to do it.
mhm, mhm,
He loves the game of football. I tell my wife all the time, sometimes we developed him a little tough and turn him into an asshole, maybe. That's great on the field. I just don't want that same asshole in the living room is what I
mhm,
don't want. So we have to
mhm,
keep a balance there to make sure you understand on that field, you that dude. But in this
mhm,
living room, you still Money. You Bryce, okay, at this
mhm.
living room. So you have to
Yeah,
get
yeah,
that part.
yeah, yeah.
But waking up at 7 a.m. in the morning, him in the living room watching video from last year's high school football games that he didn't even play in because he wanted to see the offense of the team we're playing this year. And those are things that, man, they ain't have nothing to do with his daddy, man. My
Mhm,
son is that kid that don't want me to. He don't want me to talk to a coach. He don't want me to go on a visit. He don't want me doing it because he's like, Dad, it becomes about you. because of who you are and what you've done, and you got players at that team or whatever. Be here. I love you being with me, Dad, but I want to go through this process in a way where I don't feel like they're doing you a favor. And I want everybody to know he's had to work harder and show up at more workouts. And I've heard him tell people before when they're like, oh, well, your dad's agency, this. And he said, nah, I work out 3-4 times a day. I work out more than you do. I
Mm-hmm.
lift more, I run more, I work out more, I do all the hard part, but this ain't got nothing to do with my dad. He gives me the resources. I still have to do the work. And that's the part that most people don't want to do is the work.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think that's the toughest part, man. As a parent and having a kid that's athletic, Tyler Booker's parents, I listen to them, man. They sent their kid off to IMG Academy at 14 years old, man, to IMG because they knew that Connecticut didn't have the resources to do what they needed to do for their son. So having
Mm-hmm.
their son at IMG Academy, a freshman in high school, a sophomore in high school, and he's call and say, Dad, man, like I'm homesick. I want to come home, this. And they say, Tyler, remember the plan. Remember the plan. And Tyler will be like, yeah, you're right. So he goes from IMG Academy to Alabama to the Dallas Cowboys. And you listen to his interviews and you see who he is. He's built different. But
Mm-hmm.
that family saw something in their son that they were willing to invest in that wasn't easy, bro. I don't think it would be hard for me to send money off to school right now. It'd be even if I knew it was better for him.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, I'm blessed and have one of the top high schools in the country across the street from us,
Mm-hmm.
with one of the best coaching staffs. So I'm able to have him there and still see him get all the things he would somewhere else.
Yeah.
Okay, but if I didn't have that, man, as a parent, bro, and knowing the talent he has, that would be the hardest decision is to send him off to get what's best for him.
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, no, man, that's powerful. Hey, hey Rick, when you gonna get him a modeling contract, man? I seen him out there. You know, that's a fly young man, man.
Bruh, that dude is like a 15-year-old Scott Cloman, bro. This dude, come on, man. Hey, it's hilarious, man. It's so funny because it wasn't like that early, but now it's gotten to that point, man. And
Mhm,
and now it's at that point where like he understands, like, he kind of does. He's been blessed in a lot of ways, man. A lot of ways.
mhm,
I remind him all the time, man, that God's blessed him in such a way that,
mhm,
he's letting himself down. If
mhm.
he doesn't do things
Do
the
it the
right
right
way,
way.
bro, because son, you got everything in the world at your fingertips, man. It's on
Mhm,
you. Now it's on
mhm,
you. You got to be the one to do the work. So
mhm.
I've stopped scheduling his workouts and I've stopped doing this because he's 15 now. So he has to call a
Yeah.
speed coach and set up his own workouts. He
Mhm,
has to call and set up his own weightlifter. He does jujitsu. He's got to set up his own jujitsu classes.
mhm,
He sets up his own schedule during the week. You
mhm.
can fit in your playtime and your girl time and your going out time or whatever, but you got to make your own schedule. And I want to know that you're getting two of this, two of this, two of this, two of this,
Mhm,
and now fit in your playtime and your other time because you're still doing summer school classes to get out of school. And December is last year to hopefully he's at a college in January of his last year. If he prepares and works hard enough, he'll graduate
Smart.
early. So he has to do those things, man. That ain't on me, bro. That's on
Yeah,
you. I'm
that's
gonna
the
provide. I'm gonna put the money there. You
mhm.
go do what you got to do, my guy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's smart, man. Yeah, that's smart. What was his name? Lil Sting, well, Derek Sting the Jr. He did that. Remember, he came out. He graduated in December. That gives the kids just a leg up because now you go into spring practice as a freshman.
Come on, man. Hey, and
You
never
sit up.
forget what Dave Aranda said after spring practice when he said Derek Stingley wasn't the best freshman on our defense. He was the best player on our defense.
Yeah,
Bro, that's another level, dude.
yeah,
That's a
yeah,
whole nother level, bro.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
he was that talented, but I'll never forget Big Sting telling me one time that at a point Derek started doing it himself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they get it. Like if my
Mm-hmm.
son is calling his safety coach at Lone Star High School to go over film or ask him things or do stuff, and their first game is not for 3 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, he gets it now. He
Mm-hmm.
gets it. He's doing things and preparing in a way that I can't do for him or I don't need to
Mm-hmm.
do for him.
Yeah,
So,
no, definitely, man.
and he
Well,
finally told me he wasn't playing basketball no more. And he started dumping the basketball in the seventh grade. And I was
yeah, I
like, all
seen
right, man, this dude's about to be, and he was growing, but now he's growing, slowed down some. So
him.
this year he said, man, I'm going to run track and play football and I'm going to train. Yeah, I'm going to train for football 24/7. So that was the decision he had to make. I didn't make that for him.
Yeah, that's smart, man. Yeah, that yeah, we all know how important track is for football players. That's a huge advantage. It just takes your game to another level. So I'm so happy for you guys, and man, I'm happy for him that he sees. Well, he's blessed to have all these examples around him.
Man,
You see what I'm
bro.
saying? So he see how he gets an opportunity to see how it's done. So that's
I,
that's
I
awesome.
post all the time about the role models,
Mhm,
and man, I can tell you this, Scott. He's been blessed to see the good, but he's been blessed to see the bad also.
mhm, mhm,
A guy getting pulled over at 3 o'clock in the morning and has a gun in the car, or whatever. First off, man, like you don't need to put yourself in that position. Like there ain't nothing in the world you need to be out at 3 a.m. in the morning. And this would be a good person who was just in the wrong situation, and they made a mistake. They made a mistake, but don't put yourself in that situation, money. Like
mhm,
if you do it and it happens,
mhm,
man, you set yourself up for failure, bro. You set
mhm,
yourself up for failure. I saw the other day somebody talking about after 10 o'clock. One of the podcasts talking about after 10 o'clock at night. There ain't no reason your ass being out, man. Be at home. Be at home. You can do
mhm,
what you need to in the at home on campus or wherever, and have your friends over or whatever. You don't need to be out, man, because
mhm.
nothing good's coming from that, bro. Nothing
Yeah,
good's coming. So don't put yourself in bad situations. My son's seen some really good people get hurt and their families get hurt because of a
yeah,
guy making one bad decision,
yeah,
and it put himself behind where he couldn't get back. So
yeah, yeah,
it's been a blessing both ways.
yeah. No, definitely, man. Well, we ask all our guests this question, and if 57-year-old Rick Roberts,
Richard.
not yeah, I was about to say Richard Roberts.
don't,
Yeah, thanks for
don't,
correcting me.
don't do
Thanks for
me,
correcting
Jackson.
me,
Don't do me. All right.
Johnny. Hey, here we go. Hey, his family's gonna call him Rick. We go.
All right. There we go.
If 57-year-old Rick Roberts can go back and have a conversation with 25-year-old Rick Roberts, what's the best advice would you give him, and what would that conversation look like?
Man, I think all of us, probably me, you, Jackie, all of us, we get older and wiser. We've been around a while. I really, if I could got 25-year-old Rick to focus and lock in on being successful, at whatever you love to do. Lock in on it every day, man. You're only gonna live this life once, bro. You're gonna live
Mhm,
this one once. Uh, Man, lock in and be the best you can be every single day and watch where life gets you. It doesn't matter what your profession is, man. Me in sports, if I would have locked in early and said, man, I want to be the best sports agent in the world, and here's what I'm going to do to get there. And every
mhm,
day I focused on that, and there's no way anybody can keep you from becoming that. Like there's
mhm,
just not. And if I would have locked in and really just said, hey man, let me go ahead and do this, and I know to take this step, this step, this step. I see the steps now for becoming a successful sports agent. If I would have locked in then and every day worked on that, man, I tell my sons every day, bro, find something you love to do and let's find a way for you to make a living doing it.
mhm,
And that's the biggest thing, because so many times, bro, you're gonna go through life and you might go 30 years doing something that you hated to do. And
mhm,
bro, that's 30 years of your life that you're not getting back. Find something you love to do, and I guarantee you'll find a way to make a living doing it, man. And I did. It took me, I was 32 when I really got into this business and started learning. And man, it was like, oh, I'm gonna give you a company car and a place to stay and a salary. And I show up and I didn't even ask what it was. And I get a Motel 6 key, a
mhm,
work Jeep, and $250 a week. And
mhm,
handed a book to say, call these teams and ask to get these players on teams. And I had no idea what I was getting to. And
mhm,
now, whatever, 25 years later or whatever, man, here I am. But I had to get there from the very bottom, man. And you guys saw it, bro. And that's what
mhm.
makes this conversation so
Mhm.
special, man. Y'all didn't see the clutch, Rick. Y'all didn't see any, what y'all got back in the day was that raw uncut version, learning and coming up, man. And I know
Yeah,
that. So, but find something you love to do and find a way to make a living doing it, bro.
yeah.
Man, listen. Now, I am blown away. I'm blown away, Rick, because
Jack.
no, I'm so serious, man. I don't take this lightly, so I have to be careful when I be talking. As Scott, know I get emotional about that. I get emotional,
I
man.
love it.
Yeah, because this, man, this is unbelievable. First off, great to see you. Like you said, we were steps to that road, man, and just like you were steps to our road, man. It's just so impactful, and it's so good to see you. First off, but also just the nuggets that you've dropped today, the things that you shared, the processes, and the crazy part about it, Scott said it earlier. Your network is your net worth, and it ain't so
Right.
much finances. It's the nuances of the business that you've learned. It's the conversations in the rooms you've been in. It's the things that you've been able to just pretty much manifest. Like you said, because who knew? If you think about it, who knew? Me and Scott being young, playing football, we knew what our dreams were. Oh, we wanted to play in the NFL. We want to play this game. But like you said, lock in early. I had no one to tell me that. I had no one
No,
to say,
bro.
hey, let's do this. Now, my work ethic, I would always work, but that was just because I wanted more. I wanted better. But I commend you. I commend you and your wife, man, because when people hear this, hopefully they hear uh, the power in community. Hopefully they hear that, man, because it started as a child with you. Your mom working at the Job Corps, she's bringing you over there. You're in that community. Your friends, like you say, even if they didn't look like you, they're in the community. They're traveling. You're hooping. You're playing. You're doing whatever. You're building. And to be able to, it's a big old pot. It's almost like
Right.
gumbo.
Right. Yep.
Louisiana, staying
Yep.
at
Oh yeah.
it's a lot of things that go in that pot, man. And
Make
for
that jumbo.
you, absolutely, for you and your wife and the journey that you guys have been on, man. I just commend the both of you because you said it ain't easy. You're married, you got a career, she has a career, you're raising kids, you're traveling, you're away. Just that alone, we talk about the relationship, like you said, the trust factor, to know that, hey, babe, I might be in a little late. It's okay. Do what you got to do. But just to know you have that support, man, we'll run through the wall for her. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
For
So that
sure.
that right there, and also, like you said, many people don't even understand like the process. And I am
Man.
such a proponent. I'm such a proponent of like they don't understand. Like people are mad at Dion, right? But it's crazy because what you said earlier, a father can walk up to a son and say something no one can else can they can't say.
Oh, come on,
You can
man.
get something out of
100%.
money that
Yep.
no one else can get.
Yep.
So for him
Yep.
to be there early, for him to, like you say, work with the top, that's not his fault that he
Right.
gets that opportunity. But it is, one of the things that he's taking advantage of.
For
So
sure.
kudos to him, man. Kudos to
Right.
you, wife. Kudos to the resources that you have. But he's also made the choice to say, you know what, Dad, I want to be the best. And to be to say, I'm better. I just want to work and be the best. That's
Right.
a mindset, like you said, that's just in him, and
You're right.
it's
Right.
just, and I think the for me, Rick, it's just so it's just rewarding, man, because me and Scott speak about this. We know what type of heart you have. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
man.
We know what type
Appreciate you,
of person
brother.
you are. Absolutely. So the people you're working with, and I hopefully they watch this, they get to see the man you are. And like you said, it didn't come from all golden gates and
Come
pearls.
on, man. Hey, bro. People don't realize, Jackie, you say that, man,
Right,
that when I
right.
see people out there and they call and say, man, I want to be a sports agent and
Ooh,
here's what I'm doing, or they text me or they send stuff, say, I want to do it. And they're in college and they're doing these things, man. Like I said, I lost my dad when I was 5. I lost my mom when I was 15. I'm in Crystal Springs, Mississippi, with a population of maybe 2,000 people and nobody to tell me. There's nobody in my family. I didn't have one person in my family say, here's what you got to do. You got to go to college and I'm going to help you with this or I'm going to do this. I had nobody. I mean, I had a sister who didn't finish high school, these type things. So I got to the point, man, where it was on me. And going into the Navy and having men, man, it's crazy, bro. Because the guy who helped me the most didn't look nothing like me. This was a brother from Maine who took me under his wing and said, "Man, I know what you can be, bro. I'm gonna help you with this." Like, Buck, because these people gonna get rid of your ass if you don't act right. You gonna get out of here, and you're not gonna. And this dude it's a brother from Maine who took me under his wing. A white dude from Crystal Springs, Mississippi, man, took me under his wing and said, "You're gonna be successful in the Navy. You're gonna do this." And I had perfect evaluations in the Navy at 4.0 for year after year after year because, man, a person who had no reason in the world to help me, man, took me under his wing and said, "Man, I got you." And that was from a 20-year-old, 19-year-old white dude from Crystal Springs, Mississippi, man, he had nothing. And I learned from there, and I got school when I was in the Navy, and I got out of there, and once I got into the sports agent business and did what I did, man, the things he did for me, and the things that my mom did for me in the Job Corps Center, really just took me to being successful in life, and it's because I treat people the right way, man, and that's no matter what color you are, who you are. I'm gonna treat you. I'm gonna treat you as if it was mom, and that's who people. That's who everybody should be, bro.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. I'm just I'm grateful, man. And on top of that, thank you for your service.
Yeah.
For your service that you did. We don't take that lightly, man. We have people who, represent us and protect us every day, man. So I thank you for your
That's
service.
cool, man. Yeah,
Absolutely, man.
appreciate y'all, man, very much, bro.
I'll say this and I'll turn it over to Scott, man. It's an absolute pleasure to see you. I wish you nothing but the best, Rick. I continue success, man. And my prayer is that you guys continue to help Clutch and yourself and your families, your children, just to be successful, man. Continue to thrive. Success doesn't start overnight, but like I said, you've done it the right way. You've really done it
Right.
the right way, Rick, man.
I
And that's
appreciate it, bro.
important. Absolutely, man. So I thank you as well for the early representation and dealing with some of the things we had to deal with. And we did it the best way we could because we only had what we had, you know?
Man, it was cold up there, bro. It was
Yeah,
cold. That's one
yeah.
thing I remember. It was cold.
It was
All right.
cold. Doc. It was
It
cold.
was cold, man.
We sitting up in the stands freezing together, So
Right, exactly.
it's
I'm like,
just
man.
the small stages and the early things, the man that you remember, and I appreciate even your statement as far as seeing myself and Scott as good people because I
Oh, bro,
feel the
another
same.
level, man.
I
Another
really
level. Two
appreciate
incredible guys, man. I love both of y'all. Like those were the guys that I come up with and I saw in this business that made me want to do it was guys like y'all. Man, everybody's not y'all. Everybody's not the same type person. Some guys are hard to work with, man. Some guys don't want help. But
Mhm.
having guys like y'all, man, it made it and it showed me that there was good people in this business and guys who you really wanted to work for and fight for.
absolutely. It's
Yeah.
on you, buddy. It's on you,
Yeah,
Scott.
man, we got to wrap this up, man. It's been an absolute pleasure. Um, I the thing is, I'm so proud that people can see this and now here they see the end result. Rick Roberts that works, is associated with Clutch Sports, but now they get to understand your story, you know, how you got it out of the mud.
Really.
Right, bro.
Really out of the mud. Living at a Motel 6, riding around in the beater, you
Exactly.
know,
Oh yeah.
doing what you got to do to survive, and now you're thriving, man. It's just such a pleasure to see the maturation of you, your family, you and your wife, man. Money. I can't wait to see what how he develops and continue to develops, man. Uh, I definitely want to make our way down there before he exits high school and check him
Definitely,
out,
bro.
man, and check him out.
Definitely.
Definitely,
Yeah.
those Dallas high school games. It's like going to a college game, so
And
to
he,
speak,
he
man.
plays in the Ford Center for his home games over there. Toyota Center, the Ford Center. So he's in the Cowboys indoors where they play their home
Oh
games,
yeah,
man. So it's cool to watch, man.
yeah. No, that's big time, man. But no, man. As we wrap this up, man, this is amazing. Family reunion edition of
It is,
Dreams
man.
Podcast, Locker Room to Reality, Discipline, Respect, Education, Accountability, Maturation, Success. And Rick Roberts, he embodies all those things, man. Locker room to reality. He's still in the locker room. So he was smart. He became an agent, so he in the locker room forever. We had to exit the locker room. So
Right.
yeah, right.
You're right.
So man, hey, another one down, man. Thank you so much. You guys have a blessed day.